welcome back. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining. I'm excited for you guys to see the content I'm releasing. If you're not new, thanks so much for sticking around. Please continue to do that. I love that you guys are supporting me. It's been so awesome. Guys, I'm excited to jump into this week's topic. I think it's really good. I hope you guys enjoy it, and please don't forget to like this video to let me know if you enjoy the content I'm releasing. Subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you're notified anytime I release new content. And guys, leave a comment down below about the video or about the challenge that will be presented at the end of this week. Also, reach out to me on social media, which will be linked in the description down below, along with all of the resources and information I found about today's topic. With all of that out of the way, let's jump into today's video. I've been out for a little bit, guys, because I was at the World Race Training Camp, which, guys, was absolutely amazing. If you want to know more about that, let me know. I'll leave, you guys just leave comments down below or just reach out to me on social media to see what that was like, because it was truly incredible. I got to meet my squad, my team, and it was amazing. But I wasn't able to do some of these videos. So now that we're back, I'm excited to bring these content to you guys. And I know some of you were looking forward to it, some of you weren't, but you're still gonna watch it anyway, so I appreciate that. But today, we're going to be dealing with, or this week really, we're going to be going into one of my favorite topics, and I think everyone's favorite topic when it comes to relationship, which is baggage. Yeah, I'm not excited about it either, but it is so important. See, typically everyone comes into a relationship with baggage already, but do we really have to? Is it something that we can deal with prior to entering a relationship, so that way I don't get hurt, you don't get hurt, the other person doesn't? Like, no one has to get hurt if we can just deal with some of these issues prior to jumping into a relationship. And so we're going to be in Colossians 3:5-10, which I'll read that real quick for you guys because I don't have that committed to memory yet. If you do, congrats, that's awesome, but I personally don't. So put to death the sinful earthly things lurking within you, having nothing to do with sexual immorality, impurity, lust, and evil desires. Don't be greedy, for a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. And because of these sins, the anger of God is coming. You used to do these things when your life was still part of this world, but now is the time to get rid of anger, rage, malice behavior, slander, and dirty language. Don't lie to each other, for you have stripped off your old sinful nature and all his wicked deeds. Put on your new nature and be renewed as you learn to know your Creator and become like him. So Colossians 3:5-10 really deals with three main topics that Jonathan Pokluda goes through on the Porch, which is amazing. If you guys have not checked them out, there will be a link in the description. Go check them out. It'll help you so much in your relationship. I'm only going to be summarizing what he talks about, at least the 3 bullet points. And the first one that he goes through is sins left unchecked lead to addiction. And so Colossians 3:5-10 deals with these 3 things: unchecked sins, unchecked hurt, and unchecked lies. And this one is that if we don't deal with the sins in our life, it will lead to addiction. And so when we're thinking about that, the Colossians has a list of these sinful things that we should avoid. And actually, it's similar to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 3-8, and 1 Corinthians 6, 9-11. All 3 of these list out these things that Paul says you should avoid in general, talking about sins. And he lists these out to show us that this is what we used to live in. This is what we used to think is okay. This is what we used to live in. But then he says, so put to death the sinful earthly things lurking within you, having nothing to do with sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires. Don't be greedy, for a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. So he goes through these things to remind us that these are the old things we used to live in. And you see, if you don't deal with them, they lead to addiction. And addiction's desire is to end your marriage long before you ever even get started. Looking at the first few, we see that most people struggle in these areas. And the first few are talking about sexual immorality, impurity, lust, and evil desires. Guys, these are huge. These are big. A lot of marriages end because of these first few things that he lists out. And these few things lead to actual addictions that we need to deal with. Otherwise, our spouse will not be ready and we'll only hurt them ultimately. And I know that I've been a perpetrator of this, but if you're a guy and you think that you're watching porn and like you're a virgin because you only watch porn, you actually haven't done the deed, go back and read Matthew 5:28. And Jesus tells us that even if we've looked at a woman with lust in our eyes, we've already committed adultery. And so Jonathan Pokluda talks about a friend of his who talks to people who are going to be married, and he says this to them: I hope you never have sex. And that's kind of weird because you're like, what? Excuse me? We come into relationships thinking, or marriages thinking, that's what marriage is kind of about, like for the guy to get his thing on and, have that, hey, you know what I mean? But at the same time, that's not the main point of it. So this guy continues and he says, I hope you never have sex. I hope you pursue intimacy and oneness in marriage. Sex is some things dogs do on the side of the street, which is so true. Intimacy is what the Bible talks about. It never actually mentions sex in the Bible at all. Matter of fact, typically it mentions intimacy or being one with your partner. And some people will never experience that, and that's sad. But intimacy is what a marriage is really centered around, is how intimate you are with the other person. And it is not just it's not just sex that leads to addiction. It's a lot of other hurts. It's a lot of other pains. It's a lot of other issues that stem from these desires, these evil desires. So whether that's material, whether that's food, whether that's being addicted to not eating, like whatever it is, we have to remove these. And there is ways to remove them, guys. Being free from sexual immorality, being free from all of these evil desires, it's totally possible. It's not something, people think that like all these guys have to be, like that's a normal thing to be addicted to. And it's not, like that does not have to be normal. Having a community helps a lot. Having people who are willing to call you out and love you from it is super important. It helps a whole crap ton. So I suggest getting a community. Call those that are close to you. And if you don't have one, go to church. Find some people. And they may not be in a church, but find a community group that is Christian, that is willing to bring you up and uplift you and help you grow. Guys, I'm excited for this week because we're going to deal with more of these issues from the unchecked sins, unchecked hurt, and unchecked lies. But if you want to find out more, in the description below will be the link to go to the Porch and listen to this full sermon. It is amazing, guys. Seriously, you won't be wasting your time if you go check it out. Thanks for checking this video out. Thanks for coming back. And I know it's been a little bit, but I'm ready to jump back onto a regular schedule. So I'm going to see you guys on the next video. God bless and peace out.